Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Pinot. That food and wine show, yeah. When you wanna have a good time, drink a little wine, yeah.
Welcome everybody to another edition of That Food and Wine Show. I'm Larry. It's Chris. And today we are looking at a white varietal. We're doing what's today's focus then? What are we doing today?
A little grape called VIURA.
A little grape called VIURA. Where's it come from? What's this all about?
This particular one is a Spanish wine. We'll reveal the label in just a moment here. VIURA is otherwise known as Macabeo. Pronunciation is optional at the Food and Wine Show. So it may or may not be the correct pronunciation. I'm American. I speak English. I'm sorry if I butcher foreign languages. I drink wine. I don't speak the language.
We don't speak wine.
This is VIURA Macabeo. It's from a little region you know as Rioja. It's great white wine from that area. Commonly makes up the majority of Rioja whites. There are some other things they put in there too, but this is at least 90% VIURA.
I've always been interested in wine. Since I was too young to be able to drink it, really. I've always had an interest in what my parents were enjoying, and whether it was beer or a cocktail or a glass of wine, I always wanted to know, that's not what I've got here. That must be special. What is that?
So, as you can see here, this is from a little producer called Monte Clavijo. And this is their 100% VIURA. And this is from Rioja in Spain.
Ah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, it started out with, like I said, my mother would get some wine, and there were a few favorites that she'd had and around the house, and a few favorites we'd enjoy on a regular basis. So there's some consistent things, but for the most part, as I got older and started experimenting with wine myself, I kind of got away from that, and I really, every chance I got, I wanted to find something new. I wanted to experiment with something else. There was just, I knew right off the bat, there were just too many selections to just be brand specific. I'm not a brand guy to begin with. I don't go out and buy the most fashionable clothes of the day, as is clear by what I'm wearing. I don't follow.
You're wearing Versace sunglasses, though.
I'm not a trend follower. I'm not saying I'm a trendsetter by any means, but I never follow the crowd. And I was always the guy that always had to bring something different. If I was going to a party with a six-pack of beer, it wasn't Budweiser, it was some weird microbrew. I was the one that always liked to get the girls to try something else and say, oh, well, it's kind of cool, We like having Chris over because he's different. Yeah, that's me. I'm different.
VIURA is typically, you're not going to find a lot of expensive VIURA. Typically, it's it's going to be your around $10 price point.
Let's try it.
Yeah, let's try that.
Very nice.
And this food here just kind of gives you a little idea. I mean, a lot of people, maybe we pour this wine, and you'd say, well, that's nice and everything, Chris and Larry, but what am I going to eat with that? What would you pair up with that thing? So, being that Food and Wine Show, this is just a little guideline. You want some seafood with your crisp whites, and you want a nice soft cheese.
I like that.
Should probably comment on this glassware.
It's glass. It holds wine.
It's functional.
And it brings it to your lips. It's perfect. It's a pretty decent nose. It's not like overwhelming me. It's just good value crisp white wine. Sometimes in this is what, $8, $7. This is under $10.
Yep.
In this value range, you find very few highly aromatic white wines. Wines like Rueda, also Spanish wine, and some California Chardonnay, and of course a lot of German Riesling, and even some Sauvignon Blanc. Some of those have unique characteristics and unique aromas, but very few are going to really jump out of glass at you. And those that do, I think, are amazing values. This, to me, still is amazing value. I think it has more in the palate than it does coming out of glass.
I agree with that, man. It's a nice nose. It's fresh, and it's, I guess, some nice fruit on it.
But nothing really jumping out as a unique quality, as this one standing above the other. It's just kind of a little citrus, maybe a little pear, but it's not.
It's not a tremendously focused nose. It's this is a nose that it's pleasant.
But to me, that's going to put this wine in more of the casual category. This is a wine for an event, for a party, for some of the foods we have out here, as a teaser, as a starter to the meal, aperitif. Great for salads, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot going on. It's nice. I'm going to try some of this cheese here. We're just going to use our fingers on that food and wine show today, apparently.
That's right. You know, a lot of people come to me and ask me about aftertaste, which is a function of the finish. This, to me, has a nice finish.
It does.
It's a nice palate-friendly finish. A lot of people say, like, I like wine, but I don't want anything, like, if I'm going to recommend something to somebody, they'll say, I want wine, nice white crisp wine, but I don't want anything that has that aftertaste.
Yeah, and I always have to ask, well, by aftertaste, do you mean bad taste? And that's what I think most people mean by that. I don't want a wine with an aftertaste because they don't like the bad aftertaste. But a good wine, though, a sign of a good wine is going to be a long finish, a long, pleasant finish. So whether you want something that's just going to be short and pleasant, that's fine too. But pleasant is what you're really looking for. That's the key word there. And this isn't a super long finish by any means. Probably less than 30 seconds, but it's very pleasant. It's very smooth. It's very crisp. It's very just fades away very gradually.
Yeah.
And nice.
I mean, this is definitely not long and 30 seconds, but it is pretty lengthy.
Try to finish each
time. I will. Talk to me about these legs, man. I am seeing some serious legs on this wine.
Yeah, I don't know. This is definitely a dry wine. Sometimes when I see legs, it tells me that it might be a higher sugar content. It's often a higher alcohol content sometimes on fuller body whites and reds. Big wines like VIURA and Chardonnay, they usually have a more legs than some of these other lighter, crisper wines. Maybe I didn't clean the glasses very well. I don't know.
Oh, that's rich cheese.
Yeah, but it complements. I was very skeptical of your choice here. Of course, goat cheese works really well with white wines with nice acid, and that's what we have here. It worked. I was thinking more something along the lines of Loire Valley, Sauvignon Blanc. Maybe that's where we should go with this wine. Maybe this is a replacement for your value Sauvignon Blancs that you like. It has some of those crisp characteristics, none of that grassiness, none of that herbalness, but some of the same fruit characteristics.
I agree with that. You say you have favorites. Are they favorite varietals or favorite producers? Because maybe you've come to realize that a particular producer makes consistent quality year after year, and that's why you go to them, or is it?
Yes and no. I have certain favorite varietals, but it's really a mood thing. Maybe I like Cabernet, but I don't like Cabernet all the time. I like chicken. I don't like chicken all the time. You gotta mix it up, man. Who eats chicken 3 meals a day? I'm sorry to any of you out there that do, but come on, find some eggs, get a steak, something, move on. You can't just eat the same thing every single day. It's one, not good for your body. You gotta add some vegetables in there every now and then. But yeah, I like finding some good houses, good producers that make consistent quality. But even then, everything every year is going to be different. Obviously, it's as simple as that. It's a vintage thing, and every rainfall, every amount of sunshine, every cloud that passes over the vines at a certain time of day, everything affects every vintage. And so you might have a consistent style, but there's always going to be variation, and that's part of the excitement of wine. Is what's next, what's new, even from those guys we